All right, let's get right into it. Today we're going to do something a little different. We're not just talking about a topic, we're actually going to deconstruct a formula. You know those super cinematic, motivational shorts that just blow up with millions of views? Well, we're pulling back the curtain to show you the exact blueprint they all follow.
So this has to be the most frustrating thing for any creator, right? You pour your heart into a short, you find a great quote, match it with some awesome footage, you hit publish, and crickets. Maybe 100 views if you're lucky, and then you see another video, one that looks almost identical to yours, and it's just exploding, millions of views. You're just left thinking, what is going on?
Well, here's the secret. It's almost never luck. Seriously, virality, especially in this motivational space, is a straight-up science. It's this perfect mix of human psychology, cinematic looks, and knowing how to play the algorithm's game. And that's exactly what we're doing today. We're handing you the entire formula.
Okay, first things first. Before we even think about opening our editing software, we have to talk about the human brain. I mean, why do we actually feel that urge to hit the share button? The best content out there, the truly viral stuff, doesn't just get views, it gets shared. And that's because it's tapping into these deep, fundamental psychological triggers.
So this really breaks it all down. There are three big reasons. First, you've got emotional arousal. Think about it. Any content that makes you feel a strong emotion like awe or even anger or excitement makes you want to do something. Second is what's called social currency. We share stuff that makes us look good, right? Like we're smart or we're in on a secret. And finally, there's this thing called cognitive gap closure. Our brains are literally wired to hate unanswered questions. So if a video hooks you with a mystery, you just have to stick around for the answer. So here's the bottom line on platforms like Shorts or TikTok. You have to win the first 2 seconds. That's it. This is where something called the pattern interrupt becomes absolutely critical. Imagine the viewer just endlessly scrolling. It's like a trance. Your job is to violently break that trance. A super fast cut, a huge bold statement on screen, a weird sound, anything that makes them physically stop and go, whoa, wait a second, what was that?
Okay, so you've stopped the scroll. Now what? Now comes the foundation of everything, the script. This is where you actually deliver the goods, where you take the viewer on that little emotional journey. You can have the most beautiful visuals in the world, but if the script is weak, the whole thing just falls apart. And this is the classic structure. That just works. You want to aim for something between 15 and 45 seconds. That's kind of the sweet spot. You start with the hook, that pattern interrupt we just covered. Then you have the build-up, which is the meat of the video, where you deliver that core motivational message. And then you nail the ending with the payoff, which gives them that emotional punch and tells them exactly what to do next. And this right here is such a crucial distinction. Believe in yourself. I mean, how many times have we all heard that? It's just background noise at this point. But look at the other option, framing it as a story. Talking about the silent hours when no one is watching, that feels real. That's a human experience. It stops being a command and feels more like a shared secret, you know?
And that leads us right to the payoff, that call to action at the end. When you say something like, drop a yes if you're ready, you're not just begging for comments. It's more clever than that. It's an emotional command. It gives the viewer a super simple, satisfying action to take, and it kind of closes the loop on that emotional journey they just went on.
All right, let's talk visuals. This is what really separates the beginners from the pros. If the script is the engine, then the aesthetic, the look and feel is that sleek, cinematic car body that makes everyone turn their head as it drives by. So you'll generally see two main styles dominating this space. On one hand, you've got the stoic style. It's super simple, but really powerful. Just one amazing AI image, like a statue or a samurai, with a single line of text. It works. But honestly, what often performs even better is just beautiful, atmospheric B-roll. It doesn't have to be literal footage of what you're talking about. It's all about creating a mood, a vibe, that just feels right with the voiceover. So how do you actually get that cinematic feel everyone's after? The secret is all in the layering. After you've got your main footage, you go into post-production and you start adding these subtle overlays, things like fog or dust particles floating in the air, maybe some light leaks. What these do is they break up that sterile, super clean digital look and just make the whole thing feel more real and organic. And for the final touch, the real chef's kiss, is film grain. It's funny. Modern digital cameras are almost too good. They're too sharp. By adding a subtle layer of film grain, which is literally a texture that comes from real film, you soften that digital edge. It adds this incredible depth and gives your video this timeless, emotional feeling.
But listen, the key here is not to go crazy with it. You're not trying to make it look like some ancient film. It's super simple. Just put the film grain layer on top of your video, change the blend mode to something like overlay or soft light, and then, and this is the important part, crank the opacity way down, like somewhere between 5 and 20%. It should be something you feel more than you actually see.
Okay, let's get into the vibe. This is the stuff that works behind the scenes, the audio, the editing. It's the unseen engine that's really driving the whole emotional experience. And when you get this part right, you can keep someone glued to the screen and they won't even know why they're so hooked.
Have you ever wondered how all these videos have that same deep, epic-sounding voice? Well, surprise, it's AI. Specifically, a lot of creators use voices from 11 Labs like Carter the Mountain King or Gavin. But here is the pro tip. For real, don't just copy and paste your script into the generator. At the end of the text, add a little instruction like, "He said inspirationally." The AI actually uses that as a cue and delivers the whole thing with a much more human, emotional tone. It's a game changer.
Now, sound design is so much more than just picking a cool music track. The pros think in layers. You start with your base layer, which is the music. Then, on top of that, you add ambiance to build a world. You know, the sound of wind, or rain, or maybe distant traffic. And then, for the final layer, you add impact sounds, little whooshes on transitions, or risers that build tension. It makes everything feel so much richer. Okay, this is a seriously pro-level technique right here. You need to listen to your music track and find that moment where it hits its climax. You know, the drop. The trick is to time your script so that your biggest, most powerful sentence finishes right before that drop hits. The voiceover builds all the tension, and then bam, the music gives you that huge emotional release. It is so effective.
Now pay close attention to this number because it is absolutely critical. Over 80%. That's how many people are watching videos on social media with the sound off. Just think about that. If your entire message is in the voiceover, you are missing almost your entire audience, which makes this next part, well, non-negotiable.
And here is the solution. And I'm not talking about those boring default captions. I'm talking about dynamic captions, the ones that are burned into the video itself. They pop up word by word, maybe they change color to emphasize things. They've got energy. You have to remember, for all those people watching on mute, the captions are the video. All right, we're at the final piece of the puzzle, the launch. You've done all the hard work, you've crafted this perfect little cinematic masterpiece. Now we have to make sure we feed it to the algorithm in just the right way so it actually gets seen by the right people.
When it comes to YouTube Shorts, less is definitely more with hashtags. The magic number is somewhere between 3 and 5. Number 1, you absolutely have to include hashtag shorts. That's how you tell YouTube what kind of video it is. Next, add 1 or 2 broad hashtags that describe your video, like hashtag motivation or hashtag success. This helps the algorithm find your audience. And if you want, you can throw in a generic one like hashtag viral. But always remember, relevance is way more important than just chasing trends.
And here's a massive tip for the moment you upload. Do this immediately. Post a comment yourself with a really engaging question and then pin it to the top. This gets the conversation started right away and creates what we call engagement velocity. A rush of comments right at the beginning is a huge flashing green light to the algorithm, telling it, hey, push this video out to more people.
So there you have it, the full blueprint, the psychology behind the share, the perfect script structure, the cinematic look, the layered audio, and the launch strategy. It's not magic, it's not luck, it's a formula. And now you